Welcome to Step into the Black Light. I'm one of the hosts. My name is Greg. And today we'll just be having a little bit of dialect as far as what's going on now in the climate with the voting, the courts, the bills, a little bit of everything. So I introduce myself, the other co-host. You can go ahead.
I'm Mike. Welcome.
And I'm Edwin. Welcome to the light.
All right. Now, one of the first topics I want to start talking about is the Supreme Court. Because, you know, some seats have to be filled in there. And this is something that we should be concerned about because we don't want, you know, the president overriding and just starting to put people into office without the consent of the people. Because it's our right to choose who we would like in there, people that are productive to what, you know, we would like.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Doesn't, do the people actually vote on that, or does the president put his picks in and the process begins with I guess with the body?
Well, the president has the jurisdiction to pick who he or she wants. However, when the last president, Obama, was in office, many months before the election, maybe 6 months before the election, the Republicans refused to allow a hearing to go through to let his pick be judged.
Wow.
So now in this case, we're talking weeks away from the election. They're trying to barrel in somebody, and they're basically being as hypocritical as they possibly can be.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Now, how do we, as a people, deny that request because the president has that overriding power?
Well, we kind of in a rock between a hard place because this Republican Senate can do what they want to do. And the other danger is if she gets in and the current president contests this election, you know, her vote might keep him in office.
That's right.
So this is why when people say elections don't matter, or I don't think this candidate's good enough, they're not recognizing those little things that can affect all of our lives later on if they don't make a choice.
That's right.
So to your question, Ed, there's not much we can do about that except make sure we come out strong and hard. Strong and hard.
But I'd just like to add, as we've had this conversation before, these elections are like a fight. And in a fight, if you're moving, you have 50% of chance of winning the fight, which would represent voting. If you stand still, you have 0%. And, you know, that's stagnation. That represents not voting. And with movement, there's life. Stagnation is death. You know, time is not going to stand still for people who don't vote. Things are just going to go on because regardless of who gets in office, it determines what kind of plan we got to have. Somebody's going to be in. But we can't take away from the right that so many people fought and died for, because what we fight to gain, we must fight to maintain.
Yes. You have some people, the ones that are not voting or think about not voting, their minds are probably thinking, you know, well, why should I? It doesn't necessarily affect me directly.
Okay.
If I vote, it seems like the process is still the same anyway. So why should I vote? And what we say with that is what is the analogy that you just gave. standing still will not help, but moving, which is going to vote, will and can make a difference. To add on to that, which I think would move on to the next segment or topic, would be, what is that process? Not just voting for your president, but in order to be heard, you have the smaller
Local.
the smaller governments that we as a people have to vote for in order for our voices to be heard. And that's pretty much a major part of part of it, or one of the major components in voting and being heard.
And on that note, I'll go back and then go forward. We have to understand what's at stake. When we vote for president, for governor, for senate, for Congress, we're not just voting for them, we're voting for the issues that they stand by, and we're voting so that they can represent our issues. So if we're not active in our local communities by going to school board meetings, by attending city hall meetings, by possibly even running for office ourselves and pushing our agenda, doesn't matter who we're voting for, they're not going to come to our cause. But, quoting Claude Anderson, it isn't just about voting. We have to definitely empower our people. So I get people who say, well, I'm not going to vote because it's the same old politicians, but you can make them not be the same old politicians.
Yes.
If you're proactive. If you just say, it's not going to affect me, well, guess what? They'll be shooting your brothers and sisters more next time. There'll be more chokeholds.
That's right.
There'll be more people shot in the back. Your schools will be flooded even more with crowded classrooms. Your voting rights will be taken away. While you're saying, what's the difference? You got to educate yourself so you know the difference, and you got to be proactive in your community you can make a difference.
But the key thing, I just want to piggyback on what you're saying. For some of us, voting doesn't seem like a lot because it isn't. The component that's missing? Voting with involvement. You cannot vote without involvement.
Can you define what that is?
Involvement is looking at the person that's in office, putting his foot to the fire, exploring his policies. And as we said before, it starts with local government. These are the people that you actually rub elbows with. These are the people that you're going to get out there and talk to them. On a smaller scale, as you was telling us before, our school board, what happens to children that parents aren't involved.
Right.
Self-explanatory. We have to stay involved.
And they get lost in the sauce.
Exactly.
So what you guys are saying with a little more clarity, being involved in the community affairs.
Exactly.
That might be broad. I'm not sure that's a broad statement or not, but yes, being involved in your community, like you just said, going to those to the PTA meetings, town hall meetings.
Exactly.
And voicing your or being heard, voicing your opinions.
Even at your local precincts.
By the way, for all you reality TV fans out there, there's nothing more reality TV than a local school board meeting.
That's right.
It's unfortunately very entertaining. Let me tell you, I've been to my share. And you can't believe the stuff that goes on and that people let go on because you are not involved. And some other joker is involved dictating your child's future. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
That's powerful right there. Someone else, if you didn't hear what my brother just said, someone else is dictating your child's future.
Wow.
Why? Why would that be? Not for us to answer, just the was our saying the other things that make you go, Why would you allow that to go over?
Yeah.
And there's no real answer for that.
Absolutely.
That means that means that we as a people were stagnant. We as a people stood still and allowed this other group of people to say, you know what, the Black children just don't get any more books.
That's right.
Matter of fact, the Black children, anything that has to do with Black history, we don't even give it in school.
Well, they're not, though, Ed. They're not doing that anyway. They're really not. You know, you got people in the South that are trying to take away all of the information, even about the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
And Jim Crow, they don't want nothing that's gonna make them look bad in the books.
You know what's so funny about the civil rights
What's
movement?
that?
We fought on both sides and we still lost.
Right, we fought for integration, and in a way, we got more segregation. Not that there weren't victories. You know, the Voting Rights Act was very significant because before that, you had Black people that had to pay taxes to vote. They had to take literacy tests and all this nonsense that white folks weren't doing. So there was some significant gains. However, some of our schools before integration were doing very well. And
Yes.
we were building young inventors and doctors and lawyers. And now, unfortunately, we have many people teaching our children that don't love them. And our kids are not really getting the true value of education or appreciation for it. It's sad, you know. I'm an educator, I see it every day, and I'm fighting every day. And it's like I'm fighting all sides. I'm fighting all sides.
There's another segue to that, but I don't think this is the platform for it.
Go ahead, man.
Well, no, part of that, we as parents should leave all of the teaching in your place.
Oh, man, I wish. But everybody seems to know more than the teachers. Everybody seems to know more than the teachers, you know. And that's the way it is. You know, everybody in the trenches doesn't get the respect, you know.
Well, the same rule applies. Teachers with reinforcement. Reinforcement is the parents at home. Involvement. It's always about involvement.
And respecting the craft and the profession.
That's right.
You know, for what it is. You know, they just don't respect it. You know, it's unfortunate. Unfortunate. So, segueing a little bit into current events, I'll have a question for y'all. Did y'all see the debate, the vice presidential debate, and what was your opinion and thoughts if you had any?
I'm sorry, I missed it. So I'll be listening.
Well, I did see the debate. It had a little bit more debate format than the previous debate with the presidents. At least the vice president had some kind of, the vice presidents had some kind of structure to the debate. But my opinion was Kamala Harris, she stood her ground. She stood her ground. You know, Pence, his speech, you know, it seems kind of rehearsed at some points. You know, I know he debated with some people to get ready for it, but everything seemed preconceived.
Right. He was very evasive to me. He didn't answer any pertinent questions. I thought she really was good making the case for how they failed America with the coronavirus.
Yes.
I thought she had some good moments with that. Also, she had some good moments talking about race. The funniest part for me was the fly on his head. You know, I was just sitting there for like 15 minutes, and I was saying, "Don't you feel that fly, man?" And I saw her look at him, and I was wondering if she was going to say something, but she just let it go. It was really funny. It was almost ironic that fly was there. It was a fly there for about 15 minutes, just sitting right down his head.
Wow.
And I thought that was irony or omen or whatever, you know, like, okay.
Wow.
Let me tell you what God thinks of you.
Hey, but I don't want to say it because this is the Rated G channel, but
right,
exactly. Flies.
Yeah, exactly. We know what you're saying.
I did see a cut from it, and I don't really have a big opinion because, like I said, I didn't watch the whole thing. But what I did see from the cut was that the person asking the question would ask the question. 2 minutes will be allotted, and
Yes.
he would constantly, or it seemed like he would constantly go over.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he would.
I watched.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the sister answered the question and finished in a timely manner. I did notice that from the clip, a clip that I had seen.
Yes.
I found that interesting. Is that because I'm asking you guys, because like I said, I didn't see it. Does that play a strength to?
What it is, he didn't want her to end up to get the last word. So when they moved on to the next topic, instead of him answering the next topic, he would begin the next topic answering or making a rebuttal, try to make a rebuttal to what she said.
So he wouldn't have to answer the hard question that was present. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then in criticism of her, she's a prosecutor and she's done hearings with Supreme Court justices and she's handled some tough folks. She could have rebutted him and said, listen, you're gonna have to let me speak. She could have said, you didn't answer the question.
That's right.
Some people said she didn't do that because she's a black woman and she didn't want to appear aggressive. But I thought, you know what? You got to do what you got to do, what's natural for you to do, and let the chips fall where you may, because those are opportunities that she could have really got them.
Right. I think she tried to do that at one point.
She did at the beginning.
Excuse me, I'm speaking, something like that.
She did at the beginning, and she blew him away at the beginning. Like, she blew him away.
Mm-hmm.
But then she just kind of like mellowed out and smiled. It was like almost like, America, I'm calm, I'm good.
You know one thing I learned about the president and the vice president?
What's that?
They have no idea about what global warming, they have
my
no
God.
idea about what starts these fires in California.
They asked him,
about,
right, they asked him straight up, do you think global warming is a serious threat to our world? And he didn't even answer that.
Yeah, him and the president are not.
He was just like, deflect.
And in the forest, they said, what we need is, he said something about like better park maintenance in case somebody drops a cigarette.
Yeah, they believe that fallen trees causes the fires alone. That's what they believe. Your president actually said that. He actually said that.
I lived in California for 9 years. Trust me, that's not what happens.
You sure? You sure?
I'm more than positive. I can't speak on what the president said.
Okay. Because they're not into science. Science is not their thing.
Exactly.
They don't.
Question. So we want the people. We want you guys to go out and vote, and cast your vote and voice your opinions. I'm going back a little bit again to those that don't want to vote. The electoral vote. When the presidency is finalized and the person that wins, why is that those votes more important than the people? It seemed like. Yeah. I think I'm using the right word. Each state has a particular group.
A particular amount of electoral votes.
Electoral college.
Right. So you always ask the tough questions, Ed. I'm gonna try to answer it, and then
Greg, all of us.
Yeah. But I may be able to answer part of that. So the popular vote is the popular vote. It is what it is. But certain states are given more electoral votes than others because of their size.
Mm-hmm.
So it's to sort of level the field. So like a small state, it doesn't get shorthanded from a big state like New York.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're voting for like delegates or electoral college people who actually do the vote. Yeah. And for the most part, they're supposed to follow exactly what the popular vote is.
Yes.
There have been cases when they don't, but for the most part, they do. But it's supposed to level the playing field. Anybody out there listening, if I didn't get it right, I'm sorry. I'm not a politician.
That's why when that first came about, it was based on logic. And because they said that's why they assembled the Electoral College because they said if you left it up to the people, they would think with their heart and not logically.
An informed decision?
Exactly.
Supposedly. Right.
Supposedly.
Supposed to keep democracy, but that's all debated.
Mhm.
Right.
But bottom line is, Hillary Clinton did win the popular vote, but lost the election because of the electoral vote.
That was the next segment or question, because that's exactly where I was going to say it happened.
But even though she won the popular vote, she didn't win by enough.
She didn't win by enough.
See, if you're going to affect the electoral vote, you got to get folks out. You got to get more people out. So that's the key. Everybody got to vote. Getting back to what you said, we all got to be out there. We all got to, like you basically implied, Greg, you got to be in it to win it, man. You got to be in it to win it. And if you ain't winning exactly everything you want, just don't lose everything you have.
Yeah, especially us as Black people, because they still voting on reasons for us not to be able to vote.
The Voter Rights Act is like they're trying to get rid of the Voter Rights Act. Mess around, they're gonna be voting about us being slaves again. You keep messing around.
Yeah.
They won't call it slavery though.
That's right.
But that's what's at stake, people. Those that are here listening to the live. That's what's at stake. That's one topic right there. They want to take it back to, if they could, take it back to the way they want.
That's the thing. If they could.
If they could.
And
that's why our voices should be heard.
Right.
All the moves you can make when you don't vote, you can make those same moves and vote, because
you better, right. This is only
not
one
gonna
tool.
stop for you.
Right. Voting is only one tool. Money is another tool. Building community is another tool. Having a code of ethics is another tool. Tuning into step into the black light every week is another tool.
There you go.
We got tools for you. Reading Claude Brown is another tool. We got tools for you now.
Absolutely.
Boyce Watkins is a tool.
Yes.
We got tools.
Exactly. Reading fundamental
as we can.
Right.
We're coming into the 3-minute mark, fellas.
Okay. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, so people that are listening to us, I'll be real quick. My quick 30, 20 seconds. Get out there and vote. We need to be heard. We need our thoughts and opinions out there. If we don't, it's going to be difficult for us if we don't do this. So get out there and vote. That's my 10, 15 seconds.
Right. Folks, you got to be in it to win it. People have died, have sacrificed their lives for you to have the opportunity to vote. You owe it to them to cast your vote. You owe it to your community to cast your vote and get involved in politics locally and nationally. In South Africa, thousands of people walked over 20 miles.
Yes, sir.
When apartheid was about to end in the first election, free election. 20 miles. Elderly people too.
Yes, sir.
It's not hard to walk down the block and get it done. Come on, man. You want to feel good about yourself. And that's not all we're going to do. We got more for you. Tune into the light. We're going to give you more. So once this election is over, we're getting back into empowerment and money and all that stuff. But right now, this is the mission. You got to be in it to win it. Greg?
We do have to vote. Voting is a necessity. And it is also the beginning. It's the beginning.
Yes, sir.
We have to vote. We have to organize. We have to stay involved.
Yes, sir.
We have to try to absorb some of these tools that's being given to us. If you check out our site, we've been around for four months. We've just flooded it with so much information, so many different things. It's a vehicle for so many others.
Yes, sir.
We want you to get involved. We want you to stay involved. We want you to check out the site just to see some of the things that we put on.
Yes, sir. There it is. Step into the light.